Sean here, CEO of Talkatoo and co-host of this podcast. We don't normally do this, but on some of the episodes moving forward, we're going to be introducing some ads before, during, and at the end of each episode. We promise we'll keep things short, but my company Talkatoo has been saving veterinarians like you time every day. And I wanted to share some testimonials from our users. Listen to them or fast forward. We'll be sure to keep it brief.
You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast.
You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. My name is Sean Wilkie, and along with my awesome co-host, we interview the innovators in this space every week. Ivan, please get us started.
Yeah, I'm Ivan Zach, and I'm excited to introduce a colleague, a Dr. Elianne Mimoun. A 2001 graduate from Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine, she has a diverse background that includes extensive experience in shelter medicine, surgical volunteer with Geo Veterinary International, and Relief Veterinary Services. After selling her Baltimore-based practice, Belvedere Veterinary Center, in 2021, Dr. Mimoun founded the Veterkin Society. This organization provides support for veterinarians to help them care for their own pets and those of their loved ones, no matter where their careers take them. Dr. Mimoun, welcome to the show. Thank you for finding the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Tell us about Veterkin, what it is about, how does it work? Is it a business or is it a nonprofit initiative? And just pretty much everything about it.
All right, yeah. So the Veterkin Society is a business. I came up with the idea after I sold my practice. So, a nutshell, the Veterkin Society is a virtual animal hospital for veterinarians to take care of their own pets at discounted pricing. So, unlike the practice owner or some associates that work for veterinary hospitals, there are a lot of veterinarians like myself who don't have access to clinics for themselves. So I found myself in a predicament where I didn't have vaccines. I didn't have, just a limited supply of preventative medicine. I didn't have access to a lab anymore. And I was like, how do I do this for myself? Now I have to take my pet to a veterinary hospital. And then what do I do about my parents and my siblings? Because I take care of all of their pets. So I had spoken to a colleague who I actually sent her once a year a care package for her pets. We went to vet school together and she was a stay-at-home mom. She kept her license and eventually she was going to go back to practice after her kids had gotten older, which they have. And she said to me, how do I take care of my own pets? And I'm like, how do we acquire what we need for our own pets for ourselves? And we figured out a way to get products not in bulk to our veterinary colleagues because they can take care of their own pets. We just need to provide the tools for it. So we have medical record portal. We have a lab where you can send your samples directly to the lab from home via Antec. The medical record portal is with Covetrus Pulse. So everything is online. And then because we have the virtual animal hospital all in place, we have our online pharmacy, which is through Midwest My Vet Store. And so everything is drop shipped. I don't really need to have any inventory. The only thing we do ship to the veterinarian is the lab kit. So everything, all the supplies that they need to acquire samples. So we have syringes, slides, culturettes, tubes. I threw in a Schirmer tear test and a fluorescein eye stain because you only need one of those and not a box of 100. I had a Shih Tzu after I sold my practice and she was constantly getting corneal ulcers and I couldn't buy just 2 or 3. I had to buy a whole box. So I'm like, let me throw these fluorescein eye stains in here. And then along with the lab kit, we send the vaccines that one pet needs for the entire year. So they don't need to order a tray. We actually give you just those vaccines that pet needs. And that's actually included in the membership. So it is a membership platform. Each pet becomes a member. They get enrolled. And then the veterinarians have access to all of the benefits that we have, along with the free vaccines with the enrollment. There are a few other benefits to becoming a member besides the labs, the medical records, and the vaccines. We actually rent out medical equipment. So we'll rent out an ultrasound machine, a handheld ultrasound machine, which is made by Edge Technology. It's super cute, super easy to use. It depends on the level of comfort for that veterinarian if they wanted to rent it out. I know I can see pleural effusion, I could see pericardial effusion, I can see stones, I can see hemoabdomen, well, ascites, whether it's a hemoabdomen or just fluid. So those are things I'm comfortable with. There are some veterinarians that work in specialty practice that I just met a few. There's so many scenarios and so many stories. So I just went to an ophthalmologist with my Airedale lab mix because he's got these big cataracts. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with these cataracts in my 5-year-old dog? And while I was there, they read about the Veterkin Society, and they had just moved from a big referral practice to just an ophthalmology based practice. And they no longer have an ultrasound that they can play with. They no longer have any of the services that they had available at the larger facility. So they're like, we're joining the Veterkin Society tomorrow. And I'm like, that's great. So they became members and now they have access to all the things that they needed for their own pets.
That's amazing. This is very innovative and out of the, really servicing this niche. It doesn't sound like a huge market, but definitely for a practice to exist across a country.
But Ivan, how many veterinarians do we know, you and me, that are not practicing?
Well, but even if those that do, even if you're in your practice like corporate will give you, 20% discount or whatever.
And only for 2 pets.
Yeah. Depends on the corporate. Yeah. So this is super interesting. I have some technical questions, sort of licensing. Like, how does that work? Is it I assume you can only care for your pet in the jurisdiction where you're licensed,
Correct.
but the hospital is registered elsewhere. And so, like, virtual, how does that work?
So, as long as they are licensed in the state that they are living in, we can ship to them. So, it's just like my distributor. Midwest is based in Indiana, maybe. So, they ship to practice owners, but they can only ship to where they're actually living and practicing. So, it's the same concept. We're just following the same rules.
Okay. You don't need like a mobile license. I know that where I am at in New Brunswick, they would be sticky about it and they will say that you need a mobile license to do something like that.
I'm inventing the wheel. So,
I love it.
Yeah, hopefully it stays under the radar. And but it's interesting.
yeah, I'm crossing my T's and dotting my I's. So everything that I'm doing is exactly what a distributor would be doing. And I had to take my Florida state boards, read through all the legalese of pharmacology laws and state laws, at least in the state of Florida. And I was aware of the laws in Maryland. So everything so far is copacetic.
That's awesome. So how's the traction? When did you start, and how is your progress? How are you getting people to join you, and how popular is it?
Yeah, so we broke ground August of 2024. So we're a year old now. And we have been marketing at veterinary trade shows, at the conferences, and going to the exhibit halls. So we've had a booth in several veterinary conferences and spreading the word out that way. And it's really all about getting the word out because once people find out about us, they're like, wow, what a great idea.
Is it word of mouth? Is that how you're growing? Has that started yet? Like people that have joined telling their friends that may be in a similar situation? Just out of curiosity.
Yes, that's definitely how it's been trickling. It's been trickling in. And then Facebook is actually one of our most popular ways of getting new clients. A lot of our clients are just, again, by word of mouth through Facebook, through relief veterinary pages, or I'm part of a 50 and over veterinary Facebook page. We have Instagram, and we have to pump up a little bit more on our social media because my team, we're a bunch of Gen Xers. So we're trying to get our kids old enough so that they can do it for us.
It's so cool. So I really love the innovation and like the meeting the need. Anytime I'm with a veterinarian, which happens a lot, got a bunch of friends, including Ivan, that's a veterinarian. Inevitably, they get a call from like a friend or a family member. Can you send this prescription to this place? Blah, blah, blah. How did you told us how you decided to do this, but now that you've decided to do it, where do you think it's going to end up? Like, what's your vision for the organization?
So I feel like the vision is to just be there for every veterinarian and their families. Like it's really providing veterinarians with the ability to be autonomous, to not have to ask for veterinary favors. And I think the growth of the business can be really big. And I don't know, like, we don't plan on moving into like CE or, expanding it to brick and mortar. We really just want to be there for the actual veterinarian and give them that autonomy and freedom.
That's excellent. Why not into CE? Why not? There's a lot of aspects of it. I know that there's this service that everybody can access, but it's almost like it feels like there could be like a society or a group that just kind of, exchanges with each other. Oh, I had this thing at home that I needed to handle. How do you, handle this if you don't have a hospital? Does anybody have, tips and tricks? Like it's almost feels like there is a community around this.
If you're like most vets, you probably spend way too much time at the end of your day writing up your records when you could be at home relaxing or spending time with your friends or family. At Talkatoo, our mission is simple to give veterinarians time back in their day. But don't just take my word for it. Listen to what Dr. Latovsky had to say about Talkatoo and how it's changed the way that he works.
My name is Dr. Maxim Latovsky. The name of my clinic is Arc Life Veterinary. Aside from the very obvious, I'm saving hours upon hours of writing writing records on the computer. I would highly, highly recommend Talkatoo. It has honestly been a game changer for me.
Sign up at talkatoo.com/VIP. That's TALKATOO.com/VIP to get 50% off your first 3 months. And with a 30-day money back guarantee, there's no risk in giving it a try today.
Yeah, definitely community feel. And our platform does have a whole section in it for chatting within the members. And I think that's something that we are going to eventually launch. That is definitely in the making. We even thought about creating like an emotional support group for veterinarians in different categories and having little break off sections for like the veterinarian that just sold their practice and retired, what now? Or the veterinarian that is, had to stay home and take care of their children. And then, we can make all these little clusters of people that have things in common.
Yeah. So another question. So you said I want to get into the semantics because I'm sure if there's people listening that might be a target customer for you, it'd be good to just cover off how much it costs. So you had said that you pay a license fee per pet. So if I want to get one of my pets in and I'm a veterinarian that's retired or moving on to a different career, how much does it cost for Fluffy to be part of the organization?
So it's only $170 for the year.
Okay.
And that includes your free vaccines. And then everything that you order is at cost or lower than cost. So I was in VMG when I owned my practice. I don't know if anyone's familiar. A lot of associate veterinarians and veterinarians that work in industry for the USDA, for government, a lot of them don't know what VMG is, but it's the veterinary management group where you're actually part of a buying club where you can get things lower than wholesale from the distributors. And we were able to get those pricing points for our veterinarians. So, and we pass those discounts to them instead of marking them up, which is what the normal business motto is. So that's something that pays for your membership by itself.
Yeah, this is like meeting a need. It's also super innovative. It's really, really cool. That's not a question. Ivan, hopefully you have a question.
No, no, no. So, what's the market for it? How many do you think veterinarians is this? Because you mentioned, people that retired just sold their practice. Maybe folks that are working for even consolidators. Who else? People are listening to this. Who should kind of be like, oh, I will leverage this, even though I work in the practice and didn't sell it, or even if I think relief is the bang on. Like that's just the exact niche for those people.
It's really, there are 160,000 veterinarians in the United States of America. 60, actually, I just did these statistics yesterday, 60,000 are in clinical practice. So the other 100,000 veterinarians are either, and these are licensed veterinarians, are either retired, working for the government, again, stay at home parents, they're caregivers for the elderly, they're disabled, They're relief veterinarians. I'm not sure if that, we tried to figure out how many were relief vets of those 60,000. And I'm pretty sure that that's actually excluded from the 60,000 that are in clinical, small animal clinical practice. So we've got all those veterinarians. Anybody can join. They can sign up their parents if they didn't want to join, their parents' pets. They can sign up their siblings' pets, and they can sign up to actually 20 pets onto their account. So we have one client who has, I think, like 4 cats and a dog and then a herd of sheep. So she needed all these medications for her sheep. So one sheep covers the whole herd of sheep that she shows and breeds. And so I thought that was really cool because she can take care of that herself and just order the meds on the online pharmacy.
Hmm. Do you think so? This takes care of a lot of things that you can do at home. Do you feel like there's an extension of this? You said you're not thinking of brick and mortar, but is there some sort of a shared model if, those pets locally or some central facility, or is it just a virtual gig?
It's a virtual gig. And again, it's really tailored for the individual veterinarian to take care of the animals in their circle.
I really like how you have it so focused. We keep having these ideas for you to expand. And I think the focused nature of the business is what will lead to the success. So I applaud you for that. If a year goes by, which for sure it will, what's the business look like at the end of next year? And how long have you been going so far?
Yeah. So, like I said, we're a year old. We actually are soon to be partnering up with a euthanasia company because there's a whole slew of veterinarians there that don't have access to any basic clinical things for their own pets. So, I think we're going to grow pretty rapidly within the next year. Now that the word is out, people know that we're real, we're getting some traction and trust.
How about Canada? We sit in Canada. We always ask that question.
Yes, I know. I get that almost at every conference. And I've been speaking with a veterinarian who is in Canada, who's in industry. I've seen him at a lot of the veterinary conferences. And we keep, meeting each other and saying we have to have another meeting about how we can expand this into Canada. So it's in the works. It's in the works.
I like to hear that.
The thing with Canada is that you guys don't have an online pharmacy.
That is the limitation. I know that Chewy is talking about coming in here, but yeah, we don't have that yet. But there is a limitation in that too. So we'll see how that develops. But this is fantastic. This is such an interesting niche. As we always do, we are running out of time. But we do ask 2 questions at the end. The first question is there a book, video, YouTube, TED Talk, anything that inspired you recently that you would like to share with our listeners?
I think one of the many books that I've read for being a business owner, and the one that made the most impression on me was Traction by Gino Wickman. It really gave me a big boost on how to run a business and how to manage people.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're both Traction fanboys. We're in the system. I just finished my visionary masterclass with them, which was amazing. Last question for you before we let you go is another innovator that you think we should have on the podcast.
I think Jen Cole, she is a veterinarian and she writes children's books. And we met her at the AVMA conference a few weeks ago. Her books are Rooster and Squid. That's the title of her books. And it just talks about, it's books for children about veterinary medicine. It's really interesting. It's really sweet.
Thank you so much for listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. If you want to hear about our new episodes, please follow us on any social media channel. Also, you can check out our website at veterinaryinnovationpodcast.com. See you next week.
Thanks for sticking around to the end of the episode, and thanks for being here. As I mentioned earlier, Talkatoo has a special offer for listeners of this podcast. You'll get 50% off your first 3 months with a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're curious about how it works, Talkatoo is a suite of AI tools that makes note-taking faster and easier. You can record your entire appointment and get a SOAP note within seconds, completely automatically. Just review and approve. That's all you need to do. We also help with call summaries, discharge instructions, and many, many more. All of these things are done within seconds. Just sign up at talkatoo.com/VIP. That's Talkatoo, TALKATOO.com veterkin.com/VIP to get 50% off your first 3 months. And with a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk in giving it a try today.